Hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. We've got some Arbonne today, which is something that I have not reacted too much. I know I've reacted to something in the past on Arbonne, but haven't reacted too much to them on my channel up to this point. The specific call that we're reacting to today is all about a 30-day ask challenge. So I bet we can all guess what it's going to be about. And we're going to get right into it right after this disclaimer.
This ain't what you used to. 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 This ain't what you. No, this ain't what you used to. Switch up from the bikes to a new coupe.
Okay, now that that is out of the way, we have one more piece of housekeeping to get through before we get into it. And if you are not new here, you know that you can skip this part by going to the bar at the bottom of the screen where it says reaction starts here, or you can go down to the description and find the timestamps and click on the one that says reaction starts here. If you are new here, please give this a listen at least one time. I make it quick and painless. I do not blur the names or the faces of the individuals that I react to in my videos. These individuals are positioned as public figures and the content that I react to is posted publicly. However, this does not mean that I am encouraging anybody to go and seek these individuals out and send them hateful messages or mean comments. That is never the intention of my content. My content is meant to be educational, but most of all, entertaining. So let's all do our part and keep it that way. And with that, we're gonna get the into it. If you've never heard of Arbonne before, they are another MLM, multi-level marketing company, network marketing company, pyramid scheme, Ponzi scheme, whatever you want to call it. Those are your words, not mine. And what do you think they sell? You probably guessed it. Health and wellness products along with makeup, skincare, and all of those things that you can think of. They are, in fact, a recruitment-based model where people sign on as contracted employees and think they own a business. And now that we know all of that, let's get into the call.
All right, everyone. I see that Ashley just hopped on. Ashley, welcome. Tonight, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the challenge that I put out. If you guys had the opportunity to be able to hop on to our Central Nation page to see it, but I wanted to do a 30 ask and 30-day challenge for the month of the month of April. Just because obviously it's 30 days, they're 30 days. It's kind of easy to do that. And then also kind of in honor of Petter Mork, our founder. Petter, his birthday is April 25th. And I thought what better, of a way to be able to honor him and his vision that he had to change lives and empower women and families and make a difference in this world. So then for us to be able to share this opportunity. So I actually put together a training. And for those of you guys that are on, if you are home and you have the ability to grab some paper and a pen, there are going to be a couple activities I'm going to have you guys do that are short, that I'm going to have you at some point grab some paper and pen. And I promise you it'll be good for you. But I'm going to use my notes to kind of go through this training just so I can stay on task. This is recorded, so you guys are welcome to share this with your team afterwards. Okay, when it comes to the Arbonne business, and me personally making the decision to jump in and build the business side of Arbonne and not just sell product. For me, didn't necessarily need to know what was typical. I didn't need to have them sit down with me and go over the comp plan and the success plan. To be honest with you, I think the numbers were a little bit overwhelming and all the initials back then, it was like RSVP, ASVP, like there were all these like DM, AM, it's like your mind's whirling. For me, I got overwhelmed with all of that. But what excited me was the possibilities. I didn't need to know what was typical in Arbonne at that time. For me, I just needed to know that success for me was possible. The big picture of the life that I could dream up.
See, that's a bad business decision right off the bat and should tell you a lot about how you should maybe not be calling yourself a business owner. Because if you are not looking at the statistics of how well other people are doing in this business and you're just saying,
I can be successful because I am me,
that is the most unrealistic approach to business that I've ever seen in my life. You have to do some kind of market research to know how profitable you can be and how much of a demand there is for whatever your business is in order for it to be successful. So just to know, like, I can be successful and tell yourself yourself that lie, because that's basically what it is, especially when we're talking about a multi-level marketing company or network marketing company. That just makes it clear on how uneducated you are about actually owning a legitimate business that is yours, that you are the CEO of. So I guess it's good in a way that you don't actually own a business. I think now would be a good time that we take a minute and thank this video sponsor, which is a repeat sponsor of my channel. Thank you so much to Rose Forever. They are amazing. Really, that's where I want to start. If you're not familiar with Rose Forever, they're a New York-based brand that launched in 2019, and they design luxurious rose boxes with natural roses that stay fresh and gorgeous for at least 1 year. Now, I can say that I have two arrangements. I have the blue one and the white one that you see on the screen here. The blue one is in the black velvet box, and my white arrangement is in the acrylic box. When you order roses from Rose Forever, each rose is handcrafted by professional flower artisans and treated with natural oil to preserve its freshness and beauty. The flowers are carefully arranged inside a hat box inspired by Parisian chic style, offering dozens of design options based on customer and influencer feedback. They have an enormous choice of rose colors, box shapes, and materials to allow customization to match individual taste and home interior design. Now, a little reminder for all of you out there that Mother's Day is sneaking up on us. It is in just a couple of weeks from the time that I am posting this video. And as a mom myself, I can say that I love to get flowers, but I hate how quickly they die. So Rose Forever is a great solution for that problem. And I can assure you that any mom, bonus mom, friend that is a mom, wife, girlfriend, whoever that receives an arrangement from Rose Forever will be forever grateful. To sweeten the pot, Rose Forever is giving my viewers a $40 discount off their order plus free shipping. To take advantage of both of these deals, you want to make sure that you use both codes here on the screen. The $40 discount is going to be SAM40, that's SAM40, and then for free shipping, you'll want to use the code SAM, SAM, and this should give you both $40 off your order and free shipping. The link to go to Rose Forever is down below in the description box. And once again, thank you so much to Rose Forever for being an amazing repeat sponsor of my channel.
The life that I could design for myself and my family, and then use Arbonne as a vehicle to be able to help us do that. That's what made me go all in. You know, just having someone be able to paint that bigger picture and cast that vision for me, because I'm, lived in a small town, and, it was kind of like go to high school, go to college, get your degree, get a good job. Obviously I got married early, and, so I started at 19, getting married. I did go to college for a little bit, but didn't graduate. And, I had a very kind of small town life. And I think people probably assumed that this would be, they could kind of guarantee that they knew what my path was going to be. So, I had a little fire in my belly to kind of prove people wrong, that were the naysayers as I began building. So, but the big picture for me is what really that was casted for me, is what got me excited and made me like, okay, I want the business side of it, not just to sell product. I didn't want to be an Arbonne lady just selling product to people, because I knew how that felt. I'd had acne at the time. So constantly having, people come up and, talk with me about skincare and try to get me to come to their parties. Like, I remember how that felt. The funny thing is I also had a lot of angst over my skin, because I did have those breakouts, but a bigger angst than even my skin was our financial situation. I mean, it was.
So instead of selling the product, she's selling the opportunity, which still, I think you shouldn't be going up to people in grocery stores and telling them their skin is bad and you have a solution. That's fucked up. But also, it doesn't give you the right to then not pay attention to the products you're supposed to be selling.
It caused constant worry and stress, within my marriage. I just couldn't get out of my mind all the things that we didn't have and the things that we were having to put off for one day. And a lot of that was due to our finances. I had all the same doubts and all the same fears that most likely all of you have or have had since you've started. I just decided that, where else could I go? What else could I do where the possibility for me, someone who was 25 years old from a small town without a college degree, could have the potential to be able to make a 6-figure income, to be able to have the possibility to earn a white Mercedes, cash award, to be able to earn trips for myself and my husband or my family. I just needed to know that it was possible. And then for me, that's all I needed. And I got to work. I painted the picture of what was possible for other people, even though I wasn't living that picture of success yet. I think that's the thing, that we tend to get in our own way and we create these stories in our mind, like, well, I haven't achieved this level of success yet. How can I share the business and talk about all these things? The thing is all of the VPs, are in that same position. We all start out as an independent consultant. We're all borrowing the belief of, those that went before us. I used to share success stories of those that had already achieved the success that I wanted to have. I shared why I was doing Arbonne. Even when I didn't have, that success story myself, I shared, success stories of those that inspired me, of people that had inspired me. If I was doing a presentation, someone there had a success story or had their background is similar to someone that I knew in Arbonne that had a success story that I thought maybe they would have a connection with, I would read an excerpt from that in Arbonne. Like, I think for me, I find that, people really connect with stories. They connect with heart. I think sometimes we get in our own way. We get so caught up in like the facts and figures. We think that we have to know all the things and have this perfect presentation, when at the end of the day, people just want you to be real and authentic and speak from your heart. That's the best type of a presentation you could ever do. Because I just needed to know that it was possible. For me, that's all I needed to get to work and to just dive in. I painted the big picture for other people. I shared with them, I helped them dream again, just like, Christy and Linda and Kim did for me. You don't have to have promoted to vice president level to have a success story with Arbonne. You don't have to have a certain size paycheck to be able to cast this vision for someone else. I, at the time when I would go and do these presentations and I would talk about this, I used to talk about the Mercedes way more than I barely talk about it now. I don't talk about it at all at parties, but I used to talk about it because that was like a huge, not that I like cared so much about cars, but I mean, it was just like, wow, the possibility that I could have that, and so I would share that with people, and I definitely got some people interested. That was a huge selling point for a lot of people back then.
If you're not familiar with the car program, it's such a program, and I personally think nobody should try to get the car bonus or whatever they call it. When you earn the car bonus, that's not like a set in stone payment that you get every month. You earn it, and then you have to earn it again every month. You have to hit your rank and make the certain amount of sales that you made that one month. And if you don't, and you went ahead and signed on for that car bonus, you are then responsible for that car lease or loan, whatever you have to pay. So if we're looking at a Mercedes, which is what most of these people get, either Mercedes, Audi, Cadillac, some kind of luxury car, is typically what the MLM will say you have to get. And most times it has to be white, unless you're in Mary Kay, then it's that light pink color, But anyway, you go and you sign on to this luxury car, and nowhere on that lease or purchase agreement is Arbonne. You are the only one that's on that purchase agreement, whatever it is. And it's your credit on the line if you do not make that bonus every month and for some reason you're not able to make the car payment. That's on you. Arbonne has nothing to do with it from there.
But what was funny is I was driving this like Griswold Suburban that I would drive my daycare kids around in. And, there's that scene on, what was it? Wizard of Oz, where he's like, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. That's kind of how I was. Like, I was presenting this opportunity of, what was possible because I believed in my gut that it was going to happen to me. I remember Christy and I were saying, like, if it took us 10 years to be a national vice president, I'm never going to quit. I'm never going to give up. I just believed in my gut that I was going to be there on that stage, walking that stage as a vice president. I was going to be able to take my kids to Disney World. I was going to be able to, have a paycheck, that could pay off all of my debt at one time. I knew that was possible for me. And I don't know what's so crazy is like, if you go by my history and how I grew up and, just the people that I was even surrounded with at that time, it's crazy that I had this belief in me that I was going to be successful in this business. But I think that it really took me having to borrow belief of those that went before me.
What? How do you even do that?
I borrowed the belief of Kim and Linda and Christy that, believed that I had this, these things about me, these attributes about me. It made me want to fill the shoes that they had, said, wow, like you are amazing. You're so good with people. Like they had all these compliments and all these things. And I know that they believed those about me. I just didn't believe those about myself. And I think that's really what I want you guys to think about when you guys are thinking about the people that you want in your business, that you think about the people that you currently know, or whether you're Facebook friends with, Instagram, people through your kids' school, people through church, your neighbors, whatever, past clients, past host. Sometimes we tend to overthink things when at the end of the day it's like a lot of those people would just love to hear why you think they would be amazing at this business.
No, they don't.
And if anything, even if this business isn't for them, they would be so honored that you would, share a compliment like that with them, because most people do not get that in their day-to-day life.
So love bomb them so they join you. Is that what we're saying? Make them feel good so they think you really care about them, so then they will join your team. Twisted.
Every VP in Arbonne started as a consultant. They had a dream and they had someone share the Arbonne opportunity with them. They had someone share what was possible for them and their family. And that's where they started. That was where that initial, match struck, flickered at the very beginning. When things didn't go for me as I had planned for them to, what I would do is I would read success stories. I would, back in the day, this is, going to date me because, I started in 2002, but we used to have tape players in our cars. We didn't have CD players. We had cassette player, cassette audios.
Back in my day.
They used to, before they even, they did that first when I first came in. And then over time, they graduated to CDs. Then we had the Learn and Burns. I know some of you guys have been around long enough to know about those, but they were CDs. By then, we went from cassette players in our cars to CDs. And I would listen to those, I called it my rolling university. And I would, drive to presentations to and from, and I would listen to these trainings by other VPs, whether it be product knowledge training, whether it be opportunity, whether it be just, people's testimonies of, the struggles that they had and how they overcame them.
That sounds culty. Look culty.
So many times I would be moved to tears, and it would fire me up, and it would inspire me. If these people can do it, so can I. I plugged in. So when I got down, when I got frustrated, when things weren't going the way that I wanted them to, when people I wanted to join my business, ignored me or ghosted me or, said that they were going to do something and they didn't, for some people that's too much for them and they just can't handle it. The thing is if you don't do this, if you don't face your fear, if you don't experience hardship, and let's say you just end up kind of giving up on Arbonne and I'm just going to be a product user, whatever, I'm going to try to just go about and keep doing what I'm doing. But if you did that, will you be able to achieve the things that you want to achieve on your, 21 reasons why list? I mean, I don't know if you guys have more opportunity than I had, but I find most people that I know don't have the opportunity to be able to experience all the things that I believe Arbonne can be the vehicle to allow you and your family to be able to experience.
21 Reasons Why? That sounds like some Dr. Seuss shit.
Well, that sounds like the world's worst Dr. Seuss book.
What are we doing?
Working alongside a full-time job, working alongside raising your family, in the nooks and crannies of your life, having the time and financial flexibility that this type of a business gives us. And so for me, it's I think sometimes we put ourselves in this time frame and we feel we have to achieve this amount of success by this date. And if we don't, then that means that we are a loser. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone has, different things that go on in their life. We're all, on a different journey. It's not a race. It's about being a pack horse, not a racehorse. But I do believe that I had success early on in my business because I led with the business. I believe that. I mean, I'm gonna, because I need to say this, but obviously, what's typical, go to earnings@arbonne.com. For me, I didn't need typical. I know I'm not typical, but I needed possible. And for me, I knew that this was possible because I plugged in enough to be able to see other people that were just like me. They had, I look at Donna Johnson, who is our upline. She does not have a college degree. She was a swim coach. And I heard her story so many times. I remember when she met me, I think I was an area manager, and she heard me train at a training one time. And she came up to me afterwards and said, "You remind me so much of me when I first started my business." And I remember it was such a huge compliment. She was, for white MVP at that time. And I remember just hearing that. And that right there is a perfect example of, how some words that someone can say to you and how it can, really affect you. It made me, want to make her proud. So when things don't work out the way that you plan for them to, my best piece of advice is to listen to success stories. Go on and listen to any trainings that are out there. Go listen to podcasts by, some of the leaders in Arbonne that have inspired you to keep going. Some of the greatest success stories, the ones that had, a lot of things going on in their life before they were able to achieve that success. I would take notes when I would be in the car, listening to someone do a presentation. I would pause it, and then I would do the notes on my phone, or I'd write it down on a piece of paper. If there was something that someone said that really struck something in me that's ooh, that was good, whether it be about opportunity or something with the business, I would share that. And then what I would do is I'd write out words and phrases, or, a particular type of story that moved me. And then what I would do is I would use that to be able to help me hone my own presentation, to be able to help me put together a presentation that could then move other people into action. I don't necessarily think that I had the most inspiring story at the beginning of my business, but I think the more that I lived life, and the more, ups and downs that I experienced, that allowed me to be able to be more relatable to people. If we have this perfect skyrocket success story, that's not super relatable, but struggle is. Most of us have faced some type of struggle in our life. And I think anytime you are authentic and share your heart with people, they're going to naturally connect with you.
Another manipulation.
There were many times I didn't say the right thing. Not everyone I shared this business with would say yes, but I didn't get caught up with the ones that would say no. What I did was I focused on those that were willing to hear the presentation, and I just trusted the process. I knew it was a numbers thing. I knew that if I just kept on presenting and I kept on sharing, that eventually I would get those yeses. Oftentimes the no's would actually end up connecting me to someone who eventually became a yes. And what I mean by that is if someone said, no, I wasn't interested in the business, but they became a product user, and then they wanted to host an event to get their products for free, or through our host rewards program, they would host an event, and someone at their event would end up joining my business. Sometimes, 2 or 3 presentations booked down the road, I would end up finding a leader. So just because someone would say no at the beginning doesn't necessarily mean no. It could be, I don't know enough right now, I need to hear it more. They may need to go and hear multiple presentations, which is exactly what happened to my very first national vice president and regional vice president that I promoted. It was the same person.
No. No is a full sentence. And it does mean no. It doesn't mean not right now, or I don't know enough. It doesn't mean I need more convincing and pester me some more. It means no. End of story. Period.
She heard me present numerous times at presentations before something clicked in her, and it took her meeting with me after a party one night after she'd heard me present multiple times, and she was talking about how her husband was in sales and how he made this great income and had this flexibility, and she wanted that same type of a life. And she was specialized in hand therapy. She was an occupational therapist and specialized in hand therapy, and she talked about her long hours, but that she didn't have the financial flexibility that her husband had. And I said to her, you should do Arbonne. And I remember, she had this college degree that she was very proud of, and she kind of poo-pooed me, but she told me that she couldn't get it out of her head. She couldn't get me saying that out of her head, and all the things that she had heard, all those drippings that I had given her over those years. What's crazy is that RVP, and who became my first RVP and then MVP, is actually no longer in Arbonne.
Hey, red flag, everybody.
But through her, I have this phenomenal success line that has been my $1 million runaway leg in my organization through her. And, if I would have never, and, everyone she's actually now she ended up going to another company. And so she's still in this industry, but it's just funny how, sometimes it's just, something that you say can strike a match in somebody and really get them thinking. The more you ask, the better your ask will get. The more you present, the better your presentation is going to get. You develop the skills through that repetition. You develop confidence through the wins. So, when you have someone sign up as a consultant, or you have someone that you're doing a business launch, and the business launch was successful, it just helps build your confidence up. Now, I get it. When you have a presentation where no one shows up, or nothing happens, and it happens again and again and again, it can be hard on you. But I think you also have to be real with yourself and say, okay, have I done everything? Did I have enough activity to really be able to find a true ratio of whether or not this is for me or not? We're all going to have good and bad months, but you need to get as much as you can, scheduled, booked within a 1 month period to be able to give you a true realistic, ratio of what's possible with this business. You're going to talk to a lot of people, and the percentage of people that are actually going to say yes or be willing to sit down with you is going to be smaller. So you do want to ask and, know that you're typically the people that you're asking and talking to now, it could take 2 or 3 months before that person ends up saying yes. So you want to be really consistent. So repetition is huge. Doing your follow-up is huge. let's see. Okay, so Peter Morick is Arbonne's founder, and his birthday is April 25th. I mentioned that at the beginning. He started this company because he wanted to empower women and families to be able to change not only their lives, to really be able to change the world. So that's what this opportunity started. It started when he was, at a cafe in a town called Arbonne, Arbonne, Switzerland, and he was sitting down talking and, kind of wrote out this business plan as a piece of paper and napkin. They wrote out this business plan, and he at the time got with some leading biologists, herbalists that were in that field because he wanted to develop a skincare line that was based on botanical principles. And that's kind of where it started. But then over the years, obviously, we have this incredible product line that we have. Think about that. One man.
The incredible product line that you don't lead with. Is that the one you're talking about?
With a dream to be able to, to have the audacity to think that he could create this company that could empower women, that could empower families, that could change the world. One person. You guys think about this. I think oftentimes we underestimate what we had, the possibilities that we have inside of us. You guys know I'm a Christian, and I'm open with that in my faith. And, I believe that God created every one of us for a reason. I believe that he put me into this business for a reason. I believe that there are people that came into my business that maybe they weren't in it for, to do Arbonne or use it as a vehicle, but they were in it for a season in their life that kind of led them to another path. And that's okay too. But I believe that this is the business I am supposed to be in, and I'm supposed to be in your guys' lives. You guys hopped on tonight and are hearing this for a reason. Even if you took a couple of nuggets and that's all that you guys take away from that, I think that, that right there is why you were supposed to be on tonight and why I put this training together for you. Allie, I love to hear that. From the beginning of building my business, I led with the business. I led with the business versus leading with the product. Now, I was always taught that the best product that we have is the business.
Which is a problem because that would make you lean more toward a pyramid scheme than an actual job or business for the CEO of the company. I really have nothing else to say. She just said the quiet part out loud for us.
And you guys, over the past 4 years, I feel like that's shifted, and the majority in Arbonne have led with product first. Now, although there is no right or wrong way to be able to share Arbonne with someone, as I look back at my own personal success story, I realized that because I led with the business, when I would share Arbonne with people, my business literally exploded from the very first month of my business. Now, again, my story may not be typical. Go to earningsatarbonne.com to see what's typical. But my first month in sales, we did $10,000 in sales. I had a huge party. My very first party was like $1,700 party. And I think it was on a weekend. By that next Monday, I had another $350, $400 in sales. I had 5 people at that first party want to do the business. Out of that 5, most of them ended up booking a party because I signed up March 4th of 2002. So those 5 ended up having a party booked before the end of that month. And they were kind of using it as a launch for them. So we didn't even really have enough time to like book 6 to 8 to 10. Like we just booked their business launch. And then the second month they were, doing their, 6, 8 to 10 presentations in their second month.
2002. That was 21 years ago. It's not the same as it was back then. A lot of people are more aware of what MLMs are and why we should stay away from them. People are also aware of the fact that the products that come from MLM or network marketing companies are so marked up because of all of the commissions that they have to pay that you are better off going to anywhere else to purchase your products. And so I hate when they get on here and compare it to like 20 years ago. It's just not going to work out for people like it did for her back in 2002.
My second month in Arbonne, it was like $14,000. So we actually did enough within my first 2 months that I was able to be a paid as area manager just a few months into my business, which at that point, it allowed me to be able to pay my family's mortgage payment. So my husband, who was not supportive of me and my business, I was able to be like, hey, I got the mortgage payment. So sometimes just showing them the money is all that it's going to take to get people that you want in your circle and on board, to support you. And, there were many times that I would do presentations that weren't that successful, or I would go and meet with someone that was going to launch their business. And, one thing happened and they didn't, one thing after another happened, or they went home and talked to their significant other or whatever, and they ended up changing their mind. And yeah, it was disappointing. But there were a lot of times I just didn't share that stuff with Doug because I didn't want to hear it. Like, I just kind of had my head down, heart up, trust the process. I focused on those that wanted to join me, and I didn't put all my attention into those that didn't. What was I going to say? Okay, so it was when I heard about the Arbonne's business and what could be possible for me that really is what made me fall in love with this company, even though I was a product user first. And
I don't usually comment on things like this, but it's driving me nuts. So I feel like there's probably at least one other person watching this that has the same thought, but I think she has some self-tanner on and her hands are driving me nuts. You could see the line, and that's all I wanted to say. I hope I'm not alone in noticing that. And we're going to get back into it now.
I didn't even sign up. I paid full price for my product first because I wasn't going to get scammed into, signing up in any way. I didn't understand, the wholesale program back then, right? So I paid full price, wrote it in my checkbook as Walmart. It took me a little bit of time to order other products and paying full price for them before I finally was like, okay, Christy had talked with me about this great discount program. And I was like, okay, I'll have a party to earn my stuff for free. And that's kind of why I did it. But it ended up becoming my business launch that night. I didn't know I was going to do the business until 5 people at that party said that they wanted to do the business. Christy was just getting started. She had no idea what she was really talking about. She couldn't really talk about the business opportunity because she had just started herself. She signed up as a consultant the night of her launch, which was the day before my 25th birthday. So she signed up February 9th of 2002. I signed up March 4th of 2002. And so she was just getting started. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is Christy's passion and excitement for the product and for what was possible and the possibilities. Like, that's what got her on fire. That's what got her excited. And then because I took off and did I was right on her tail. That's kind of what really helped, push her to get an activity. She said she probably would have quit if she had not enrolled me and, had me on as a direct business builder, because I was hot on her tail and she was trying to keep up with me. For me, I could not shut up about this business. I ate, slept, breathed, dreamed Arbonne. I would literally be sound asleep in my bed, sat straight up in the middle of the night and do a little excerpt from a presentation, because it was just, it was annoying. It was annoying to my husband. I mean, if I would be in the car arguing about something and then someone with Arbonne would call and I'd answer and I'd be like, whatever. He's like, oh my God, you're like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like, it's just, it excited me. It got me on fire because, number one, I loved helping people. I love launching people. I knew what these products were doing to my skin. Primarily back then it was skincare and cosmetics. I knew how it was making me feel and the confidence that I had. I knew that I could feel myself changing and kind of stepping into this leader that, Kim and Linda and Christy saw in me. I would wake up in the middle of the night sharing Arbonne. And I know that for my husband, it was annoying, but that's how much I believed. I presented so much, it just would fall out of my mouth. And I think sometimes we get a little rusty because we stop presenting, we stop asking. And why do we stop? When we first started, a lot of us jump in and do stuff at the beginning, but then we kind of stop. And we stop because we start doubting ourselves. We maybe don't have the success that we had hoped to have at the beginning of our business. So we kind of slow down a little bit and we retreat. The thing is when you start doing that, you are not developing your skills. You're not, staying in the trenches and creating that confidence through that consistent repetition, because the more you present, the better your presentation gets. And the more people you talk to, you guys, you are that much closer to finding someone that is going to say yes. Everyone is not going to say no to you. I mean, they're not. I remember always carrying a notepad with me wherever I go, if it was my purse or whatever, if I was driving, because I would always just have people's names pop up in my head, someone from college or someone from whatever. And I would remember and I'd write their name down. There would be times I'd be in my bed almost asleep and then I'd think of somebody. And so I'd have a notepad by my bed.
What in the actual? People from college that came up, you just remembered a memory with someone. You're like, I have to hit them up to see if they want to join my team on Arbonne. Please don't do that. No.
I would text myself the name of somebody, if I would think about them, because of both my excitement for the business and the results that I had with the product. You guys, that excitement that I felt for the possibilities superseded any fears that I had or wondering what people thought about me, or the fact that I didn't have a college degree. I was I felt like a lot of times we've heard people say, you tend to sponsor in your comfort level and below. I would go to these conferences and I would see these leaders. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're phenomenal. Like just these most amazing leaders. And you just assume that they have such a great sphere of influence and they must have had a, corporate job or, they must have had money to begin with. And I think sometimes, we discount ourselves. Like I've grown into this person that can walk on a stage and capture that, have that same aura about me, even though I don't have a college degree. But I think that I have kind of learned through the hard knocks, of life and just through, the experience that I've had with Arbonne leading, teams, being able to present at a global conference with 18,000 people and to be able to develop, my skills and my leadership, learning, what worked and what didn't, learning to be humbled and that I don't know everything and knowing that I'm still growing even, 22 years in. But for me, the excitement and the possibilities supersede any fears that I have, any doubts that I would ever have. That was at the beginning, and that is still true to this day. I had heard people say from the beginning, and it's just kind of something that I have taught out to my teams from the beginning, but some will, some won't. So what? Who's next? And that's kind of the way that you have to look at this business. Not everyone's going to join you, and that's okay. Some will, some won't. So what? Who's next? Almost like you kind of have to have that mindset of the fry guy at McDonald's. Do you want to supersize that? No, that's not going to be like they're going to cry and go suck their thumb and hit their head against the wall. They're like, okay, that's my job. I have to ask them if they want to supersize it. Not everyone's going to supersize it, right? But they're going to ask because that's their job. They're supposed to ask, do you want to supersize that? That's part of their job. So part of our job is that we have to ask. We can't, worry about whether or not someone's going to say no. That's not our job. Or say yes, that's not our job. Our job is to present and ask and figure out if this business is a good fit for them or not. Some will, some won't. So what? Who's next? You trust the process that eventually you're going to find the person that will join you. I want to do a short activity with you guys. It's like a two-part activity. So I want to do a short activity with you guys that I believe is going to really help you to understand what I'm talking about when I talk about the importance of leading with the business. So I want you guys to get out a piece of paper and get out a pen. And then I want you guys to draw a triangle. So just draw a triangle on the paper with two lines in it. So it kind of is going to look like that. So just two lines down. So almost.
Why? Can't wait to see what she tells them to write in this triangle, aka pyramid.
It's like three sections, like a piece of pie. Okay. And we're going to talk about the funnel of leading with the business. Okay. So at the top, I want you guys in that top kind of triangle part, I want you guys to write business consultant opportunity. So write business consultant opportunity. That's like going to be in that very top, little pie piece at the top of that pie. And then in the middle, you're going to write host/connector. Okay. You can put discount too, because they would also get some type of a discount on their host rewards. And then on the third, you're going to write client or preferred client. Okay. So real quick on the top half, you guys, the consultant opportunity has the best benefits. Okay. So from the very beginning of my business, we led with the business because it had the best business benefits. Back then, we didn't have a preferred client program. Everyone signed up as a consultant to get the discount. Now, still, the percentage of those that built a business was very small, just like it is today, compared to those that sign up to get the discount, right? What I love about the preferred client program is it allows consultants that are wanting to do it just to make a little extra money. They can create a great base of clients and preferred clients without having to build the business side of it and enroll other consultants if they don't want to. They don't have to do that. And it gives them the ability to be able to make that preferred client commission. Whereas when I started, we didn't have that. So everyone that signed up as a consultant, if they didn't build a business, they got the discount. The consultant that sponsored them wasn't making really any money on them unless that there was enough volume created there for them to help promote the ranks and get paid that, override commission. So next to the consultant side, the opportunity side, I want you guys to write a couple of these things. So income, trips, Mercedes cash program. So income, trips, Mercedes cash program, personal development, and then community/friendships. So
Do not look for community or friendships, specifically friendships in an MLM, especially because when you leave the MLM, which will inevitably happen, those friends will not come with you. They will not talk to you likely. It is a very conditional friendship.
these are all just a few things, and there's many more, but those are just a few things off the top of my head when I think about the consultant opportunity and some of the most common perks of being a consultant with Arbonne that someone would have if they decided they wanted to build a business, okay? And then next to where it says host and connector, you can write host perk code to shop at a discount. And the referral reward. So if someone refers, Arbonne, or refers you, like says, hey, I've got a girlfriend, she's interested in buying the skincare, and you've told her, like, if you refer someone to me, I'll give you a free product or give you a discount on your next order, or whatever kind of deal you get. But that's typically like basically just if someone is a connector for you, you're going to reward them in some way, right? And then as a client and preferred client, they get the 90-day money back guarantee. Anyone that orders product gets a 90 money back guarantee. But then they get the discount as a preferred client, and they earn rewards, PC rewards, when they place orders. So basically, by leading with the business, what it does is it sets the stage so that if they say no to the business, if they're like, I'm not interested in the business, it allows you to funnel them to, would you be open to maybe hosting a get together for me? So potentially it could be a connector. So maybe I can find some potential business builders through them. Okay. And if they would do that, then from there, they would become a client of mine, and I will just take care of them. And over time, maybe through the relationship that we build, they might be open to the business later on. Right. So
it's never asking them to host a party to sell products. It's, can you host a party so I can find more people to join my team? This is a problem. There are red flags flying high everywhere.
leading with the business, it gives me a funnel to take them through. Okay.
Her funnel is wrong also, by the way. A funnel is, oh wait, is she going to tell us now why it's a upside down funnel?
And the reason that I like that triangle kind of in that way, the very top of it, that where it says business, because very few people that enroll in Arbonne are going to do the business compared to the majority who are going to fit into the second or third funnel to, either being a host or a preferred client. The majority are going to come in for the product, but you want to lead with the business because that percentage, the people that say yes, and it's not that the majority don't need the money. It's not that the majority that this business isn't going to work for them. It's just the majority, it just may not be the right time, and they just may do better being a client, a product user first, and then over time through a relationship building, they would be more open to the business, right? But I think that it does a good job of showing like that's very realistic in that way. But if you led with just product, so if we talk with someone about Arbonne and we led with product and they say no, well, where do you go next? Okay, well, would you want to hear about the business? Well, they just told me they weren't interested in the product. So that'd be kind of weird if they weren't interested in product, but I'm trying to get them to get involved in the business to sell the product.
But here's the thing. They have to use the product and like the product and know the product before they can sign up for the business and try to sell the product, which is what you're actually supposed to be doing. I don't know what is happening. My brain hurts from this. I do know what's happening. Like, she's trying to recruit anybody and everybody, but man, how's she getting away with it is basically what I'm wondering. I know how she's getting away with it because they don't give a fuck. This is so annoying.
That wouldn't make sense. Does that make sense to you guys? So there are some people that they're like, I'm going to lead with the product and I'm going to sign them up as clients. I'm going to build a relationship with them. And through that relationship, they're going to know me, like me, trust me, and eventually come on board in the business. A lot of people do it that way. And that's totally fine. I think that's kind of a safe way to do it. But I'll be honest with you, me and the majority of the people that built a business early on in my business that promoted to area manager, paid as within their third or fourth month, came in leading with the business, getting into activity from the very beginning, and they were rolling consultants in Arbonne. Now, there were a lot of people that didn't stay in Arbonne, but they continued to use products for themselves or family, but they did the business long enough that they enrolled other people that still to this day, those people are product users, even though their upline may just order it for themselves. They're now a VIP client of mine. But then I have people that are in my business, building a business to this day, that signed up with me within a couple of months of me joining in 2002. Kelly Wilson is one. She has been with me since the very beginning. Gabby, I can't remember how many years you've been with Arbonne, a long time. You want to type that in the chat section, the number, but Gabby, she was a connector. I met her through a neighbor that hosted for me. A neighbor invited one of her friends. That friend then moved to Tennessee. That girl hosted a party and or booked became a consultant, had a party, invited someone she knew. That person she knew decided to do the business. That person invited Gabby. They knew that Gabby had a need. She was looking for $300 extra a month. Like this, she's 18 years in Arbonne. Like it's through that, it led to Gabby. So you never know. But by leading with the product, yeah, you could, take that process. It may go on a little bit. It's almost like dating. It could take a little bit longer to get them on board with the business. I think it's always better to kind of lead with the business. Sometimes people will say no because they just don't have the money to buy the product. That's why the business would be a great opportunity.
No.
I've had people kind of sit with their arms crossed and are like, I can't buy a thing, I'm not gonna buy a thing. And they were kind of like that from the whole presentation. But at the very end, they came up to me and they said, Val, when you shared your story with me, like that was me. Like I'll be honest with you, I don't have the money. I don't have the money to buy this. I would love to buy everything, but I just don't have the money.
So let's spend the money on buying the business opportunity that has over a 99% fail rate. What? That seems logical. Yeah.
Renting this house. She lived in a big house. She's like, I'm actually renting this. We're behind in our rent. She's like, I really need this business. I would love to become a consultant. Would you be willing to fly back out here and help get me started? I mean, so you never know. Just because someone says no doesn't mean N-O. It could mean K-N-O-W. There's more going on in my life than you know. So my N-O doesn't actually mean no, I'm not interested. It just means
Never doesn't mean K-N-O-W. It means no. Again, let's go back to preschool. No. N-O.
I need to be able to share with you kind of what's going on in my life so you'll understand. And maybe, there is still a way that I can get involved in this business. So, let's see. Okay. If we only share the product story, we're missing out on sharing why Peter started Arbonne to begin with. Why he chose to use the network marketing business model to begin with. So you guys, this is part 2 of the exercise I want you guys to do. Take out a piece of paper or flip that other piece of paper around, okay? And I want you guys to spend the next 2 minutes. It's 8:39. Spend the next 2 minutes. I want you guys to write down 10 to 15 things right away that you think of off the top of your head. I want you guys to list the benefits that you have received or have seen others experience, just in case you guys just are getting started and maybe you haven't experienced all the benefits yet. Start out with the things that you can think of off the top of your head that you personally have experienced in some way, but then also knowing what is possible because you've been able to see it with your own eyes from people that you know in Arbonne. I want you guys to list those things that you have received or have seen other people experience because you or someone else, said yes to Arbonne's business. So because you said yes to Arbonne's business, I want you to list anywhere between 10 to 15 things that you can think of that this business has done for you. It's allowed you to be able to experience because you said yes to the business. So just spend the next 2 minutes writing that down real quick.
5 minutes later.
And you guys are thinking of stuff, you can keep going, but I want you guys to, in the chat section of this, to type the number of things that you guys wrote down already, just in the last 2 minutes. If you guys can write down just the number of things that you wrote down. I was definitely able to write down 15 when I first did this. I'm gonna have you guys do that. If you're still writing, that's fine. But what I want you guys to do is from that list that you guys wrote down of all the benefits or the things that you've been able to experience because you said yes to Arbonne. So from that list, I want you guys to mark off the things that you would not have been able to experience if you had been a customer of Arbonne and not a consultant building the business. So if you were just a customer and not a consultant, I want you guys to start marking off that list. So your list of 14, 9, 11 that you guys just typed in, mark off the things that you would not have been able to experience if you were a customer of Arbonne's, just using product and not a business builder. Now I want you to type in the number.
Chances are you could do anything that's on that list without joining Arbonne. But we're going to pretend like none of that would be possible without Arbonne. That's such bullshit.
Ashley would have had to mark off all 14 of them. By not asking others to take a look at Arbonne's business, you guys, you're holding other people back from all the amazing things that you have been able to experience because of Arbonne.
Now we're playing that game where you tell yourself a lie that if you're not offering the business opportunity, you're doing everybody else a disservice. No, you're not bothering anybody else with your bullshit, quote unquote, business opportunity that is just a contracted employee position.
Or all the things that you hope to be able to experience, the possibilities that you know that you're capable of, that all, I mean, this life, all for Allie, 12 of 11 marked out for Gabby. You guys, I can guarantee you that you are going to feel like you are playing tennis for a while. Once you have made the decision, like, I'm going to go all in, I'm going to start sharing the business, I'm going to lead with the business. I guarantee you, anytime that you're like, oh, I'm fired up, I'm ready to go, I'm excited, you're going to be dealing with some, pushback. It just happens. And you're going to feel a little frustrated because when you ask someone or you get on the phone to pick up and say, hey, I'm going to give you guys some verbiage to use. But when you start doing this, it may take a little bit to actually be able to connect with people. You may send out a few messages. You may have made some phone calls if you're actually able to get a connection, to be able to talk to somebody live. And it does feel like you're kind of going back and forth. I guarantee you that every one of you guys, I experience it too, that you will experience the 4Ds. You're going to experience the doubts. But is this really going to work, Val? I've been in Arbonne since 2000, or I've been in Arbonne since, Gabby, 18 years. Like, is this really going to work for me?
Not likely.
We experience the doubts, distractions, life's distractions, just the things that go on in our family's life. We have graduations, school's getting ready to come, around the corner. It's the end of school. We're gonna have our kids home for summers. There's vacations that come up. Something happens with one of our family members' jobs. Something major breaks in our house that we have to figure out how we're gonna come up with that money, and it kind of distracts us and gets us in a little funk. And it's hard to pick up the phone and be on fire and excited when we're in a funk about what's going on with our finances, right? Like, I get it. So we're gonna experience distractions in life. It is guaranteed. You're going to experience disappointments. People that you would really love to have do this business with you, they're just not going to get it. There are going to be some people that may not answer your call. There are going to be maybe some people that see, listen to your voice text or whatever you do, and they don't respond back. There's going to be people that maybe set an appointment with you and then they don't get on or they cancel, and that's okay. That's all part of what we do. And again, I want you guys to have that mindset. Some will, some won't. So what? Who's next? Just because someone says NO now does not mean NO. It can mean KNOW. This is a business, but when timing and opportunity, when it's the right time, the right opportunity, you want to keep that relationship going, keep doing the follow-up. I spent years following up with a gal that I met the last 5 minutes of a trade show. And through that, 3 years at least, following up with one person. And through that, ended up promoting out multiple vice presidents for my team in Canada from that one contact. Would you be willing to follow up for that long? You're going to experience dream stillers. There are going to be people that are going to be like, Gabby, you've been with Arbonne 18 years already, right? Like, you're not a vice president yet. What's wrong with you? Do you really think, we do this. We're going to have our own negative talk. We're going to share it with somebody. And then we're going to have them, our dream stillers, be like, probably better wash your hands off and say, this isn't going to work out for you. You guys, I want you to remind yourself of where else can you go? What else are you going to do where you're going to have the opportunity to be able to use a vehicle like Arbonne to be able to achieve all the things that you wanted to achieve for yourself and your family on that list of 21 reasons why? The opportunity today, April 1st, 2024, is 1,000 times bigger and better than what it was when I started in March of 2002. The product line's phenomenal. The company itself is phenomenal. We didn't have the caliber of ingredients and products that we have back then that we have today. We weren't a B corporation. We didn't have the type of leadership in corporate or in the field that we have today. Like, you guys, what we have available at our fingertips that's free, that our company takes care of, they have set us up for success. We just have to stay the course and plug in. We have to borrow the belief of those that went before us. For me, or for you guys, that's me. I'm going to be one of your biggest cheerleaders. I am not only your upline, I'm going to be your coach. I'm your girlfriend. Like, I'm all those things. And I believe that every one of you guys on this call, on this Zoom tonight, have the potential. I believe that you guys were brought to this business for a reason. You have the potential to be a national vice president with Arbonne. You guys haven't even touched the surface. You have multi-nations possibilities within your success line that are just waiting for you to get out of your own way. Look, one person after multiple presentations said yes, and through that one person ended up becoming this $1 million runaway leg. That one person came through a woman that I had met at the gym in my local small hometown that booked a party for me, that did multiple parties. All these cute girls, ended up hosting because she had some great connections, but no one was interested in doing the business with her. I kind of locked arms with her. She had narcolepsy. She'd fall asleep during the presentation. She'd literally bite her fingernails down to like the core, sit there and scratch her head, like just had lots of little weird ism things.
Oh my God. Did she just say that?
And through her, I met the one that would end up bringing me this $1 million runaway leg in my organization a month. You guys,
is she on this call? Because you're talking about her like she's not even here. She is, wow. I just hope that person is not present on this training call. Oh my God.
So you never know. Don't discount connectors. Someone can come into this business and it may be just the person that you need to bring you, your ace. You never know. But don't allow the 4Ds to be bigger than someone else's why. Guarantee you most people are looking for and hoping for and praying for the opportunity that Arbonne has. They're praying for everything that Arbonne can provide them for. You guys, I wanted to create a challenge this month to be able to help you guys dust off your ask.
Come again?
I think she said dust off your ask, but it definitely sounded like dust off your ass. Can't help it. Okay, I am who I am. It's sorry, not sorry.
Be able to help incense you guys to face your fears, to get back into the habit of asking. So I created that challenge, 30 ask in 30 days. And Peyton Mott is one of my good friends. She's a 5-wide executive national vice president. She built her business to nation in her dorm room, has been through ups and downs in this business. People have left her business. She's went through a divorce recently. Beautiful, beautiful soul inside and out. Total rock star, is always enrolling people in her business, clients as well as consultants. She shares the business online. She does presentations. And I would love for you guys to have the opportunity to be able to have some one-on-one, like just small group setting, private coaching where she can just get on with just you guys and just pour into you guys, where you can ask questions. I mean, all the things to be able to have that type of access to someone who has been so phenomenal in this business in such a short period of time. I wanted, like, who could I choose? And I thought Peyton would be amazing. And I messaged her yesterday and she's like, absolutely anything for you. I'd love to do that for you. So I want you guys to have the opportunity to be able to get on a Zoom with Peyton. And all you have to do is get those 30 ask in before the end of this month. So it doesn't have to be today, because obviously it's like 9 o'clock at night if you haven't already asked someone into the business. But I want you guys to ask someone to take a look at the business. I want you guys to do presentations to share the business. You guys could have a presentation, a group presentation already booked, where you have 5 people that you're going to get in front of, and you're going to actually do a presentation for them that is Arbonne for you presentation, or sharing the business. That would count for 5 of them. You're getting 5 done in one time. That's fine. But I want you guys to get in the habit of asking. And all you have to do is get that list of 30 people that you guys have asked and presented the Arbonne is Arbonne for you presentation, a 20-minute presentation using the Arbonne for you. You can do it via Zoom, in person, over coffee. You can do it a group presentation with multiple people together. That's fine. I'm going to give you some verbiage on what you guys can say to them. That's all you have to do, okay? And enroll 2 consultants that do at least $150 order before the end of the month. And you're going to get both of these things, that access to Peyton. I think it was May 6th. I'll look at the date, but we picked a date and a time that she's going to do a Zoom for anyone that earns this challenge. And then you're going to get an Arbonne logo shirt that is going to be custom to you. So only you guys are going to have it. Nobody else is going to have this type of shirt. It's so cool.
How special.
So I can't wait. So if you guys do all of those things, you enroll the 2 consultants, but the 150 order, and you get those 30 ask presentations, then you're going to get both of those things, that Arbonne logo shirt, consistent, specific to you. It's not just a logo, it's like cool custom shirt. And then you get that opportunity to be able to pick Peyton's brain in May. Just hopefully it's just, our small group.
Oh, goody. A shirt and a Zoom call. Give me a bonus.
And all of you guys have the chance to earn it. So I want you guys to go for it this month. When you are initially asking someone to see if they would take a look at this business, you have to kind of have an outline or something in mind of like, what am I going to say when I'm asking them? So just in closing, I want to share with you guys just a few little things, like little outline bullet points. So the first one, tell them what you're doing. You can say something like, I'm reaching out to you because my team and I are doing a challenge this month, and I to share Arbonne's business with people, and I thought of you. So that brings you to the number 2 outline, why I thought of you. And you would say, I have always thought you would be amazing at this business, but to be honest with you, I have been a chicken. I have been nervous about what you would say. And then the 3rd outline is the ask. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. So the first was, what were you doing? You tell me about the challenge. The 2 is why I thought of you. I've always thought that you'd be amazing at this business, but to be honest with you, I was chicken to ask you. Now, you could then from there keep going with the number 2 outline. When I think of someone that I would love to be able to spend more time with, you come to mind. You could say something like that.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Please, God. She did not just say that. What? I want you to do this business with me because I want to spend more time with you. How about go to lunch, have them over for dinner, spend some time together, I don't know, going for a walk, actual things where you're not relying on them for your quote unquote business bullshit. That is definitely on the top of the list of the worst things I've heard these leaders say in these calls.
Or you can say something like, you are so great with people and you have such a unique ability to be able to make people feel good about themselves, or you're such a go-getter, or you're outgoing and you're so well connected and have such a positive energy about you. I would just love to spend more time with you. You don't have to go blah, 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 all these things. I'm giving you guys some examples of things that you can say depending on who the person is, but people want to know why you would want them. So the second part, the first one is what are you doing? We're going to tell them about the challenge, and you can say, that you're to share the business with them. The second is, I thought of you because blah, blah, blah. Number 3 is the actual ask itself. This is where you're going to say, I would absolutely love the opportunity to be able to meet with you for just 20 minutes so I can share a bit about Arbonne's business and see if this is something that could be a fit for you and your family. You could also say something like, I would love to be able to show you how adding an additional stream of income to your family's life would benefit you. This may be a fit for you. It may not, but I would love the opportunity for you to just take a look. So something like that. And then you just keep that presentation to 20 minutes. And then the fourth part of that outline is the scheduling. So you want to have your calendar. You want to go expectant, when you're doing the ask with them on the phone or however you're asking them for this appointment. You can say something like, let me give you some openings that I have over the next week to be able to give you some options that we can get something on the calendar. So we can get something on the calendar. You don't want to look like, here's my month. What do you have available? Like have, kind of over the next week, kind of start with that. And if they're like, oh, next week's crazy, or say, what's your schedule look like the following week? I definitely have some openings I can give you. So you can kind of go from there, but you don't want to be like, here, my month's wide open. Because obviously, if they don't really know what it is and they're kind of nervous a little bit, they may try to do it towards the end of the month and then end up canceling. So I would try to get it within that first month or week to 2 weeks. And then once they say, yes, I would do it, whatever, you want to make sure that you're confirming that. And you're going to say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and fill you in on that slot. If anything changes, please let me know so we can get it rescheduled or so I can, put someone else in that time slot. You want them to know that you're professional, that this is a business, and it's not just something that they're going to, cancel and not think anything up. You want them to know that this is a business and you're taking it seriously and you're going to put it in your calendar and they're important to you. So you guys, in closing, I want you guys to tonight, before you go to bed, and I know for Gabby, it's Eastern time, I want you guys to make a list, just jot down just a list of 30 to 40 people right off the top of your head that you can think of that you would like to ask them if they would be open to meeting with you. So you can do a 20-minute presentation to be able to share the business with them. You guys can use your phone. Just go from A to Z on your phone. If you're like, who do I even talk to? Start going through the contacts in your phone. I have like a gazillion people in here.
Please don't do that.
That might help jog your memory of who you could, put on that list. Maybe the people that are already customers or in your web stats already. They're already customers, product users, past hosts, whatever. Maybe people that have been on your chicken list, Facebook friends, people that follow you on Instagram, or, people that are currently in your VIP group and maybe you've never actually talked about the business or asked someone specifically to take a look at the business. You guys can also send voice messages where they're actually hearing your voice. That's kind of the chicken way over trying to get a live ask. But if it is hard to get a hold of some people and they're not answering the phone, you can always send a voice message or voice text versus just a text that people can easily ignore. I always think that anytime that they can hear your voice, that's way better than just sending a text message that they can ignore. And then if you guys are like, okay, so once I get these appointments, now what do I do? I think it would be good for all of you guys to maybe grab a buddy. For you guys, there's 4 of you guys right there, right here on this training. You guys could team up together and do it, or, I'm happy to help as well. But you grab a buddy and practice asking, practice what you're going to say if you're nervous. And then once you get an appointment scheduled, use the Arbonne is for You flyer as a guide to be able to present the business to them. I love it so much because you guys, it literally, it just walks you right through the whole thing. Obviously you're sharing with them, why you did Arbonne and whatever. You're going to keep that to about a couple of minutes, but you're focusing on, our products and just the product difference. That's where you can talk about being transparent, B Corporation. It literally bullet points for you what to say. The business itself, owning your own business, working alongside what they're currently doing, sharing and selling products that we love. And we can kind of talk how that works. Be able to earn rewards, incentive trips, Mercedes cash program, talk about some of the perks of doing the business. And then this right here, this what if you could, you guys, this is where you're getting them to dream, share products that you love and earn commission on sales. on sales of those products to your customers, building your own business, choosing who you get to work with, being able to set your own schedule, improving your overall well-being, changing people's lives. Even on those, like I like to say things like being able to go on a vacation, and take your family on a vacation, to be able to put money back for a vacation, be able to put money back for kids' college, to be able to start a savings account for the first time.
The likelihood of any of those things happening are so slim, and you should be aware of that before you jump into this bullshit.
The guide that I gave you, that's one that I put those 4 things. I just put that together. I can screenshot my notes and send that to you guys in a text message. You guys have that. But this is called Is Arbonne for You, and it's on the source. You guys can actually download this PDF that you can use. So this is what you would use anytime you're talking with someone specifically about the business. But the 4 things that I just went over, I'll send you guys a screenshot. That was something that I actually put together. It wasn't something that is like Arbonne has, like on a training. And then the 3 ways to earn when you share and sell products, the commissions, overrides, and then the achievement awards. Like this is going to talk about like, what they get when they decide that they want to build the business, like how you make money with Arbonne basically. And then what I love about the bottom part is it has the top 50 and the bottom 50 average incomes of every level of management. I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but one of my favorite things that I will have someone do when I'm sitting down with them is I have them write CDARN, or I'll write that, and I write the average. I just know off the top of my head, I'll write the average incomes for each level. And C is consultant. So, obviously that's going to be based on like what time and effort they want to put into this business. But if they want to build a business, I'm going to put the average income for district manager. So $300 to $500 a month. Area manager, $1,200 to $2,500 a month is the average. Regional vice president, $4,500 to $10,000 a month. National vice president, right here on this form, it says $24,000. The lower 50 is making about $24,000 a month.
I hate those names, by the way. It's just giving them false, I don't know if it's false importance that I'm looking for, but how many vice presidents do we need in a company?
But 15,000 to 20-some thousand being the average, 24,000 being the average. You can make much more. You can even say some make more, some make less, but ask somebody, which one of these, and you're writing down the average, which one of these can make a difference in your family's life right now? What if I could show you how to get to each one of these levels? Would you be open? And I think, knowing up front that there are going to be people that are going to be worried about if it's going to work for them. You're going to have an idea of like some of the most common objections and things like that. But you guys, the best thing that you could possibly do is just start asking and presenting. You're going to figure out what works and what doesn't. You'll probably present this month and talk to some people and maybe over talk and overshare or whatever. And you're like, oh, I sucked, whatever. But then the more you do it, you're going to develop those skills. You're going to develop the confidence. It's going to give you the superpower. So when you keep continuing to ask this next month and the month after, you're following up with the people that you're talking to this month, you're going to be amazed by the results that you're going to have come from doing this particular activity this month. So I hope that this helps you guys a bit. If you guys have any questions on anything I shared, feel free to reach out. I will get this uploaded to Vimeo so I can share it with you guys on our team page. But I hope you guys will take me up on this challenge. Peyton is such a gem, and all you guys need to do is do those 30 asks. Send me a copy of the names of the people that you guys did the presentation with before the end of the night on the 30th. And so I can get you guys in. And then just sponsor 2 or enroll 2 direct consultants that have at least $150 order. You guys, think about all the people that that can use an extra $300, $500 a month. One of the perks that we get paid every Tuesday. So, whatever they sell from, Saturday through the midnight on the following Friday, they get paid the next Tuesday. So literally, if they're sharing and consistently building up a preferred client base, the fact that they could get paid up to 4 times a month, really 5, because they get the override check on top of that if they are deciding to build a team as well. So 4 times in a month plus that, so I think that that's a huge perk. And the fact that so many people have part-time jobs and they're looking for ways to make additional streams of income, people are needing this business. Even if they're not thinking big picture, they may be a consultant that just wants to do it very part-time just to make some extra money. Don't discount those people. The more they stay connected, it may get in their head at first, like, oh, I can make some money, but then it eventually will get into their heart and they're like, I'm gonna stick around. This business, I love the people in this business. I love the culture. Everything I've learned about this business, it, gets me more and more fired up. So you never know. All right. I love you guys too. I know I went over time. Thank you guys so much for popping on. I cannot wait to see what happens with this challenge and what you guys can do this month. I believe in you. Love you. And you guys have a great night. All right.
Good Lord. That one did not disappoint with the cringe. Don't fall for this shit, please, for the love of everything. Before we get into our palette cleanser, I would just like to remind you to subscribe to the channel if you liked this video, if you've been watching my content. Sometimes YouTube plays some fun tricks and either unsubscribes you or keeps giving you my content in your homepage, but you're not subscribed, so you don't get the latest content. So make sure you're subscribed, hit the like if you liked this video, dislike if you hated it, whatever you want to do. And I'd also like to remind you that I am getting a low taper fade undercut if my channel hits 10,000 subscribers by July 1st. So we have a couple more months. We're almost there. We're almost halfway to 10,000. So we'll see if we make it. And with that, we're just gonna jump right into our palette cleanser. TikTok hates your bullshit.
Hi, my name is Queso.
Wow, that's a beautiful name.
It's Spanish for cheese.
I had no idea. I'll see you inside.
Hi, I'm Allie Kay, and I just want to leave you with a quote this evening, and I believe it's by Abraham Lincoln. It is better to have loved and lost than have never to have lost at all. I'll see you inside.
That is so wise. I look forward to talking with you more inside.
Hi, I'm Jessica B, and I brought you this plane for good luck, because I know you're a pilot, so when things get stressful, just hop in this plane and fly away.
This is the nicest thing anyone's ever gotten me. I'll see you inside.
Hi, knock knock.
Who's there?
Graveyard.
Graveyard who?
Me in a graveyard, because if you don't pick me, I'll just die.
Now that's funny. I'll see you inside, you big jokester.
So good. As always, that account is linked below in the description. Thanks for hanging out with me while I talk a bunch of shit, and I will see you in the next one.
This ain't what you used to. 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 This ain't what you used to.